name is Mel Brown and welcome to episode 57 of my crafting podcast. This is my weekly vlog about knitting, crochet, weaving, spinning, dyeing, anything else that seems like a good idea at the time. I'm an autistic woman living in North Yorkshire, in the north of England with my husband, our 3 daughters and 3 cats. You can find me in social media up here. I think I've left enough of a gap. And I have dispensed with all pretense of tidiness and just thrown a blanket over some stuff. So yeah, there's the washing in the background there, love it. So here we go, episode 57. Hello. So let's crack on straight away with where are they now? What's happened to the projects that you've already seen? So we'll start with the Advent blanket. So this is my blanket using this pattern for squares of random yarns, finishing them off with a grey lining, and then they go into bigger squares if you haven't already seen this. So you'll notice, those of you who are keen viewers, that this is a beautiful mini from Mothie and the Squid. So that means I finished my rainbow socks, right? So as soon as I finish the socks, almost the first thing I do is to make a square. So that is actually the purple from the toe. And then I also made one with the green that I dyed for the heel with the purple for the toe. Now up till now I've only used one yarn and then the grey. I haven't used a second yarn. With this one I quite often put a second yarn in, but this one I haven't as yet. But I did this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they look so lovely together, and they are my friend Sarah's favourite colour combinations, purple and green. And it's just too lovely. So I haven't made a rule. I've kind of had something I was following, and I've now broken it. So that's the way I like to go. So that's those two. They're in celebration of my rainbow lockdown. That's some yarn that my friend Linda made a pair of socks for my hubby in, and that's the leftovers. Don't know how I managed to come into the leftovers, and this is quite impressive. So last week I said to you that I found a bag of yarn that my youngest daughter had dyed. So she'd bought a skein of undyed yarn from me, and she dyed a 50-gram skein, which I showed you last week. And then there were 2 other bits and pieces. You're going to see both of those today, which is quite exciting. This is one of them. Now I'm going to put it where it's not against the light. So what she did was, I think she wound it into a ball and then she dyed it in one colour and then wound it the other way and dyed it in another. I think that's what she did. But the speckles are quite awesome. I love it. I really enjoy crocheting with that. And there's loads more, so I can get lots more squares after that. So yeah, quite happy with that. So that's, yeah, just not much more, just 4 extra squares on that, which is enough. That's work in progress number 1. Starburst is still snoozing in the corner. Still haven't decided if I'm going to do anything more with that. It's not an unfinished project because each little square is a finished project. It's just a plaything, really. Yeah. I might take that off my whips list and like the hope squares, just it's finished. I just occasionally do another one. I don't know. Rainbows in the fluff. So this was the knit along, the hashtag rainbow lockdown rainbow socks. Lots of good news about the cow, but for now I'll just show you the socks. So there they are, all done. So I've used the pattern Diamonds in the Fluff, but just the stitch pattern. The sock pattern was just my own recipe. So I've done a standard toe, 64 stitches. I've done a German short row heel with this hand dyed yarn by me. This, as I've already mentioned, is Mothie and the Squid, and these gorgeous minis are from Woolly Goodness Yarns. And then at the top I've just done a 2x2 rib until I thought, oh, okay, I probably need to start doing the cast off now because I do this super stretchy, surprisingly stretchy cast off. And I got 5 stitches for the end, and I didn't have enough yarn of the second one. I've done the first one, so I had to do just regular bind off for those. So I'm hoping I haven't actually tried them on. I'm hoping I can still get them on after that. Oops. Yeah, so they are a little tighter than my socks usually are, but that's okay. They still go on. So yeah, love them. Love, love, love them. So I'll talk to you more about the cowl later on, but that's my entry for them. Sorry. Okay, the Van Gogh. So that is a shawl I'm doing in hand spun orange and grey. I haven't done anything more on that, and I'm going to tell you why when I come around to the dyeing and the spinning. My daughter is FaceTiming probably her girlfriend in her bedroom, just over there, and I've said to her I'm recording, so if you can be a bit quiet. Doesn't happen. One of the things about being probably a teenager in general, but particularly an autistic teenager, is that she's just not really aware of what's going on around her. She's in the moment, which is nice. But okay, so the Van Gogh is work in progress number 3. Number 4 is the Golden Willow. This is my brioche project. Now, up until now, I said to you last week, I'm only doing it on my solitary Sundays. But yesterday, I again changed that. I did lots on my solitary Sunday. I finished off the current section, but I really, really wanted to get the yellow colour in. There's a purple and a navy blue, which are not very much contrast, and I wanted to get the yellow in. So yesterday I started the next section, which introduces the yellow. Or actually, I think it's more gold now. I'm looking at it in here. So I'm going to show you. It's all in a tangle, and I'm attached to all these balls. Right, so that's the right side. So you'd already seen this, and there's a lifeline in case you're wondering what that awful line is. I put another one in because, yeah. So that's 2 colour, although you can't really see it because it's the purple and the navy blue. And then we get onto this. So this is moss brioche, I think, and it's in. So this line under here again is a lifeline. Don't worry about that. And then we get, it's the first section of the actually 2 colour that you can see. I like it. It's really nice. The whole thing just feels really soft and squishy. You know those ring shawls that you can put through a wedding ring? It's not obviously as fine as that because it's 4-ply and it's not lace weight, and it's brioche. It's meant to be, but even so, it feels kind of like that. That it's all scrunchy and tiny. I love it. Really enjoying it still. Working away quite happily. Yeah, I love that. It's not mustard to me anymore. It's gold. It definitely shines out as gold. Love it. And this is Fine Fish Yarns Yak Singles. Absolutely divine yarn. 3 colours. Sour Sour is gold, and then there's Squid Ink and Stubby. The other 2. So yeah, absolutely loving these. I'm thinking if Yarndale does go ahead this September, because at the moment we're in lockdown. I said last week we're in the 6th week, but we weren't. We are now. We've just finished the 6th week. If it's lifted and we get to do Yarndale, I hope they're there again, because I'd really love to see some more of their stuff. Right, okay. Golden Willow. That's all of the projects you've seen before. Let's have a look at the new ribs on the block. So, you know, I was doing something for the library, Harrogate Library. They're doing a yarn bombing thing. When they reopen, they want 100 little things stashed around the library so that people can just see them, take them home. We do quite a lot of library, crochet at the library, so it's a kind of feature thing. So I had done a little squid in dark blue, and I told you last week that both my elder daughters said, oh, can I have one? Where's it? There it is. So I made a second one. This one is for my eldest daughter. Now this is the yarn that my youngest daughter dyed. So it's a kind of mottled light blue, and yeah, it's a lovely pattern. This is a free pattern. I've probably put it up there already, but really, really pleased with him. And I've got another one to make, but I also made a little whale. It's really cute. I'm holding his little tail. So yeah, 2 things for the library, one for one of the kids and another one to make. Yeah, they're fiddly and annoying, but really, really fun. So yeah, very cute patterns. What else? The squid, yeah. Oh, and socks for Lizzie. Now, I said, I've been saying for a couple of weeks I wanted to cast on this pair of socks, and I wanted to use Gemma, you know, Gemma B Makes, her podcast, she started this slip stitch pattern, which is really cute, and I wanted to try it out. But it's one of those patterns where you do something on the first row or round after the colour changes, and then you do something different on the second row, and then you just knit standard on the third row. So you need a colour change yarn that has at least 3 rounds or rows of a colour before it changes again. And I had chosen, or rather Lizzie had chosen, some German sock yarn for her next pair of socks, which I'll find the label for. It's cool. And I wasn't certain, a close up of what the sock looks like. I wasn't certain that would work very well, because obviously these bigger bits here, yeah, that's fine. But these smaller bits here, I wasn't really sure. And then I made the toes, and then it was obvious it wasn't going to work. So here are the toes. This one would be fine. You could have the little slip stitch between these, but with that, you haven't got 3 rounds. And even if, yeah, it just wasn't going to work. I was quite disappointed because I really wanted to try that pattern, so I'm probably going to have to cast another pair of socks fairly soon. Probably for me with some lovely Claire Nettleship yarns, self-striping. That'd be nice. But it isn't going to work for this, so I've just decided to make this Hermione's Everyday Socks. It's a free pattern, lovely simple one. I've done 3 pairs with it before, and that's going to work absolutely fine. I only just started that pattern yesterday. So the other thing about this yarn is it's not a sock weight yarn. I bought it because I saw it in... What's that for? I wonder what that's for. I think that's to tell me the washing machine's finished. Yes, that's what that is for. Do you ever do that, set an alarm and then can't remember what it's for? It's not actually a sock weight yarn. I saw it in Yarn Etc, and it's this bright pink is my husband's company colours, so I knit in pink socks all the time. So I ostensibly bought it for him, but Lizzie picked it out. But it's not really a sock yarn. If you go onto Ravelry and have a look at what people have made with it, then they've largely made socks. But it says six that I fear from Zex Fach 6 ply, and obviously the British call sock yarn 4 ply, so could have given me a hint that it's a bit bigger. But the ball, it came in a ball, was actually 150 grams, and oh noodles, why do I have such trouble finding these simple things? It's 150 grams and it's 420 meters. So a standard sock yarn, looking at roughly 400 meters for 100 grams. So it's like 280 meters for 100 grams, which is nowhere near a sock yarn. So completely puzzled. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've had this issue before. I'm often wittering on to you about this kind of thing, aren't I? Anyway, it's very thick. And I don't think it will fit in standard shoes without stretching them. So I think they might be kind of house socks type thing. I don't know how much use they'll be. But, you know, I've started, so I'll finish. And do you know, we have the same size feet, her and me, and her slightly younger sister. So if she doesn't like them, can't wear them, I will. So that's okay. So that one started, and yeah, it's nice to have socks on the needles. Don't like not having socks. Don't know why. But if I'm going to start another pair of socks, for me, I need to finish off something, because I know I'm not very happy when I've got more than 6. What can I get rid of? The Van Gogh, I guess. That would probably be the next thing to get finished. Oh, actually, I haven't told you that I've got 6 yet, have I? Okay, so that's 5. That's work in progress number 5. And the 6th one is just a tale of my rather strange behaviour. So when I spoke to you last, I showed you the Cat and Sparrow yarn. So I had spun a beautiful braid of, I want to say Wensleydale and silk. from Cat and Sparrow, and I'm now going to check on that. And I spun it. It was beautiful. I fell in love with it. I showed it to you. And then I made a little label for it because Linda gave me these labels, and I made a little label for it. Look. Because I was going to put it in my stash, and then I would remember when I came back to it. Yeah, Wensleydale and Silk, Zen Garden. And then I literally put it into my stash, and I came back to the dining room and I sat down with my laptop and I thought, I'll just have a look at what kind of projects. And a project came up and I thought, oh, that's nice. I went to my stash, I took off the label, and I balled it up and I started a project. Yeah, it seems that Linda, my friend who we started spinning more or less at the same time, she has hand spun yarns in her stash all the time. She doesn't knit with them or crochet with them very often. But me, it seems that hand spun burns a hole in my pocket, and as soon as it's done, I've got to use it. Mad. Anyway, got it back out again, cut off the label, and balled it up, and I started a project, and it was a really good project, but it wasn't the right project for that yarn. I'll show you a pic. So I texted my friend Andrea, and she said, no, it's not the right project. She suggested a really simple ribbed cowl. So I ripped it out, and this was really annoying because it was a lovely balanced yarn, and then I ripped it out and I had to rewind the ball. Now because I rewound the ball and it was already attached at one end, it got all twisted and it's not a balanced yarn anymore, which is really annoying. But anyway, so here's what I've got so far. I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm not going to frog it again. So what we've got here was that lovely big silky slub. You can see the colour changes. It's really lovely to look at and nice to feel. So what it's going to be is a wrap around 2 or 3 times count. Now it's too narrow. I'm not going to go back and change it. I did think about doing something along the lines of a 10-stitch blanket and just kind of start working around there, attaching it at this point and working around, but then you'd have this bit stuck up the top and that would look a bit silly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work until I've done half the yarn, and then I'm going to make a second one the same, and then I'm just going to crochet them together along this edge. So it'll be twice as thick as that, and it'll just wrap. I like cowls that wrap. Cowls that just go over once are nice. They're really nice, but I like it to be touching my skin. I like it to be sort of holding on. If there's a gap, then I get cold. So this will be great because it will wrap 2 or 3 times, and it will be nice and thick, so it will definitely cover everything around there. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, the yarn is beautiful. Yeah, really lovely. Okay, so that's work in progress number 6. So I need to finish either that or the Van Gogh before I can start on the pair of socks for me. Or I could just break my own rules. Okay. So that's 6 works in progress. Okay. Oops, I need to put my little tag in it. Now I've gone to the effort of making it. I should actually put it in there with it, shouldn't I? Right. Okay, so that's the knitting crochet over. Let's have a look at the spinning. Yeah, I haven't had a good time with spinning. My new Magicraft, well, it's new to me, Magicraft Pioneer, which I've been using, Andrea's selling it to me. The drive band had broken and I'm having terrible trouble getting hold of another one. I contacted a company and they were sending one, but it was coming from New Zealand and it just hasn't come. So I spoke to her yesterday and she's sending me one that she's got, so hopefully that will rescue me. I did make a drive band out of cotton yarn, but it only worked while the bobbin was full, so that wasn't good. So then I remembered I've got an Ashford traditional, so I started spinning on that and that was great. But then the drive band kept jumping off, and I think it was because it was too loose. So I tightened it up a little bit and then it was too tight and now it jumps off every 5 seconds. So ridiculously, I've got 2 wheels and both of them have drive band issues. Really frustrating. And I've got this fibre and I want to spin it, and so my friend Andrea dropped off her wheel. This is not her spare wheel, this is her first string favourite wheel. She dropped it off for me yesterday, bless her. So I've actually been able to do a bit of spinning. Let me show you. So just spinning a single in a bag of beautiful different colours of yarn. I've got a fibre roll. So that got me a lot calmer yesterday. because I'd managed to spin some thick and thin. I'm doing a course on blueprint with a lovely lady called JC Boggs something. She's absolutely fab. And I was doing thick and thin yarn, and that was great, but I got a single and it wasn't possible to keep it as a single. It wasn't balanced enough. So I wanted to apply it, and I started to apply it on my Ashford, and I made such a mess of it. And then I tried to apply it on the one that Andrea lent me, which is a Woolmaker's Bliss. And the orifice wasn't big enough, and I kept getting blob stuck. So I just did some basic spinning, which was lovely, really relaxing. Anyway, before the Ashford died, again, I managed to spin the orange fibre. I showed you the orange fibre last week. I had dyed it with red and yellow food dye. But I showed my class really in the difference between when Rachel at Cat and Sparrow dyes some fibre and when I dye some fibre. I was way too much in a hurry with it, and I didn't let the colour properly sink in. You couldn't tell when I was holding it up because it looked quite saturated, but actually once you started pulling the fibre apart and once you started drafting it, there was a lot of really light colours. And I was okay with that. It was lighter than I was expecting, but I was okay with that. But then I got it in the skein, and then I balled it up to start knitting with it, and I noticed that it's not really orange, it's pink. Let me show you. So I wanted it to be a darker orange, and I was happier with a lighter orange, but not the pink. And I really wished I'd noticed that while it was in the skein before I cut the ties and balled it up. So I reskeined it, retied it, and I redyed it, overdyed it. Actually, that's not the right thing to be talking about, is it? Oh no! Doesn't matter, does it? No. And I can't even find it now. So much stuff here. Come on, where are you, little skein? Oh, there you are. Right, sorry. So yeah, there it is. The other thing about that was I was trying to spin to the same width as I had before, and obviously my hand spun is not consistent. It's you know bits and pieces, but I can't remember exactly when I spun the orange stuff. So I was trying to sort of work out how thin I needed to be, so I spun a little bit and then checked to see, and I don't know if I won't know till I start knitting really whether I made it close enough to what I did before. Quality control is not something I indulge my time in. So there it is. It's ready to ball up again and to knit with, and then we'll see where that goes. That's why I haven't done anything on the bang off, because I messed up. So that was in there. This reminds me, if you know Sheffy, really Sheffies do twice cooked chips. This is twice dyed yarn, isn't it? Because I dyed it in the fibre, then I spun it, and then I dyed it in the yarn. So it's twice cooked. Yeah, I'm not sure that adds much to the value of it, to be honest, but okay, there we go. Right, so that was the spinning, but also a little bit of the dyeing, sorry. The other bit of the dyeing was something a bit cheeky. I'm going to rustle a bit now. I showed you a sock blank last week that I got, and I really loved the colours except for the middle bit. I did not like the colours on the middle bit at all. So I just overdyed that middle bit. So there's the purple that I love and the teal that I love, and I just overdyed with a kind of lovely patchy kind of blue. These bits are still showing through, but they're more kind of green now than they were. They were just a kind of brown kind of thing. Anyway, so, and because I wasn't very careful with it, I've managed to unravel some of the but it's okay. So yeah, that's all done and dusted. So that's all my dyeing. I'm getting through this quite quick today, aren't I? So last week I showed you a finished weave. I hadn't finished it yet, as in it was off the loom, but I hadn't washed it. But I've washed it and that's all done and dusted now. But I started another one on Friday and I finished it yesterday. So that's my quickest yet. I think it was because the warp I chose wasn't misbehaving. Usually my warps, at least part of the warp misbehaves badly, and I have to spend quite a lot of time every time I open up the shed pressing my finger through to get it open. This warp was very well behaved, so I think that's why I did it so quick. So the concept of this one was a thin warp and thick weft. So I used a sock yarn that I bought from the Cone Exchange, so that's our kind of local charity shop, thrift shop, which does craft supplies, and I bought quite a lot of it actually, but I didn't really know what it was. They just say, you know, it's roughly 4 ply, it's roughly this number of grams. So it's off a cone that they've inherited from a company that, you know, diverted from landfill. It was definitely acrylic, an acrylic blend, if not 100% acrylic. And I had quite a lot of it, so I did the whole warp in it, and it was such a different experience for me, sort of like tying on and doing 3 or 4 wraps and then coming back and tying off and putting the next one. Just being able to do the whole thing in one was quite amazing. Well, actually it was in 2 because I used up 1 whole ball. Excuse me, I had to start on the second. But then it's a 12.5 dent reed, so nice and spaced, quite well spaced, and a standard acrylic 4 ply, so it wasn't misbehaving at all. The sheds opened absolutely fine and it was a breeze. So the plan then was I selected a whole load of weft yarn that was quite chunky. I'll show you a pic. And as you might have spotted, there's quite a lot of hand spun in there. My hand spun, not singles, my hand spun art yarn, and my friend Sarah's hand spun singles and plied yarn. So yeah, and some really weird and wonderful stuff. One of the weird and wonderful things in there was something that I'd found in, you know, I said I'd gone through Annie's stash of yarn and I'd got some stuff out of there, some really strange things from there. So this is the warp, a sort of blue and black acrylic, and the first thing I started with. So yeah, I wasn't defining colours for this. In fact, I wanted to use some of the rainbow yarns that I've got in my stash, because if you're doing a sort of colour coordinated weave, they don't fit in anywhere, do they? So I wanted to try and work a bit more with colour, and because I'm unique to weaving, unlike any of the other crafts, you can't see the whole project so far at any point. You can only see, you know, this much that you've already done, and everything else is hidden. So it's really difficult to know how to balance colours if you're changing them. So I wanted to have a go at that and see how I could manage, and it was okay. This bit I wanted to show you. This bit. It was a pain in the neck to do because the yarn is just a kind of ribbon and then all these bits, so I had to pull all these bits through at the right point. What did I use? I think I might have used a plastic weaving needle to pull them all through, and I did about six rows of it, and I was definitely done by then, and I didn't use it again, although I do have quite a lot. I've got some in blue as well, but yeah, that was enough for me. But isn't it lovely? Okay, so then went on, and this is hand spun of Sarah's, that's hand spun of mine. This is my favourite thing at the moment, travelling inlay, bit of boucle yarn, and then yeah, just more hand spun, some really weird and wonderful things that I've collected over the years. I've got some real rainbow stuff in there, some more art yarn, and yeah, just more of the same really, basically. There we go. Yeah, that was my really mad art yarn that I had loads of bits of different fibres in it. It's bonkers. So yeah, I am happy with it. I wasn't sure if I had balanced the colours right, and I think I have. I think they'll probably do. Still don't know what I'm going to do with it. Doesn't really matter. Andrew is going to help me make some clothes with my woven stuff. Friends have been showing me all kinds of different patterns and projects and things, so I'm really excited to do that. But for now, I'm just happy to work away at it. And because of my our spreadsheet, which I'll tell you about in a minute, it's very, very good for me to be doing a lot of weaving. Okay, so that's the weaving, that's finished. I need to warp up again, because if I walk into the room and I see my loom just sat there. Like last night I kept Dave comes down at sort of 5ish, finishes work, and he wants to cook, and he's a brilliant cook, and I help him quite a lot, you know, prepare things, keep the kitchen tidy, whatever, but a lot of the time not really needed. So what I do is I sit in the dining room and the kitchen are kind of one room, but my loom is on the breakfast bar, which is between the two. So so I can sit up there, and it's a little bit raised from the kitchen, and I can watch Dave cooking. So if he wants to talk to me about anything, he can. We can listen to music together, and if he needs anything, he can just ask, and I can pop straight down. But I can sit there and weave while he's cooking, and that's absolutely lovely, because just, you know, I'm not a big fan of cooking. So yeah, so yesterday I did that, and just going in there now, just looking at the empty loom, is like, don't like it. So I need to warp up fairly soon. And what I was thinking this time was a thick warp and a thin weft. I don't know what I've got that's thick that I'd have enough of and would be strong enough. So I'll have to think about that. But then the idea was to do the whole weft in 4-ply. So it will take a lot longer, partly because the warp will probably be more difficult to separate, but also the weft, even if I'm leaving a little gap and not beating it hard, it's going to be much slower to grow, and then sometimes I will beat it quite hard and make it. So it'll be, yeah, but I don't care how long it takes. It's not about time for me, it's just about enjoyment. So that might be what I do next, if I can find some thick warp yarn that would work. Otherwise I've got a few other things to try. Yeah, still not sure how to go on with choosing yarns, and I want to make more art yarns to go in there, but of course the wheel situation is frustrating. So okay, let's go on to something new. Now this is exciting because I got something from Gemma. Now Gemma B makes, my favourite podcasters, she has sent me something as a prize for the knit along. Isn't it cute? Colours are so lovely. So it's got these lovely handles on the outside. On the inside it's got 2 pockets there, and on the top it's got a drawstring. I like a drawstring. I don't like zips on knitting bags because, you know, you can get stuff stuck in them. And inside there is this cute little thing, little stitch markers made with wooden leaves. So cute. So that is a prize for the giveaway, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a skein of the extra fine merino and cashmere into there as well, either bare as it is, or with or dyed to your colours. And again, I'll remind you, in case you don't know, I am not a professional dyer. I am not hugely great at it, but I can certainly have a go. Well, you know what I mean. So there it is, absolutely gorgeous. So what we're going to do, at the moment, I think, and I don't really know exactly, because I don't want people to have to rush to finish things, and I don't want people to not take part. We're still in lockdown after all. I thought at this point what I might do is, when we get an announcement for the lockdown is going to ease in anyway, so, you know, things are going to open or social distancing is relaxed or whatever, at that point I will look at all of the people who've taken part, all the people who've used the hashtag on Instagram and actually started a project, and everybody who's taken part on whatever platform, and I'll put them all in a drawer, and whoever comes out will win the bag and the stitch markers and the yarn, either bare or dyed. So that's the plan at the moment, but if it looks like lockdown's going to go on for a lot longer, then I might change my plan. But that's the plan at the moment. So if you want to take part, it's not too late. Obviously the name gives it away. It's Rainbow Socks. It doesn't have to be socks, but rainbow would be a good plan. And get started, use the hashtag and take part. Excellent. Okay, so I told you last time that I joined, well, I tried to join a fibre club with Cat and Sparrow. That's Rachel, who made the yarn that I did that ribbed cow out. She made the fibre and I made the yarn. So she did have a couple of packs left of her festival fibre club, and she sent them to me. Oh my goodness. So ostensibly I bought one for me and one for Sarah, but I didn't know which one was going to be which. And then of course I just, you know, choose my favourite. Now this is a bit rustly and this bag is ripped because it's stuck on the envelope. But I'm going to show you, this is what comes. It's about a festival. So Rachel has done all this research into festivals, and there's this stuff about a festival called Nardam in Mongolia, and it talks all about it, tells you all about it, and then it gives you this load of fibre as well. I tell you, as soon as she starts doing fibre clubs again, I am in, because it's amazing. So get this. How gorgeous is that? So that is, I'm going to tell you what fibre it is if I can find it on the sheet. The fibres, Mongolia's large range of breeds. Yes, you couldn't get any of the Mongolian breeds, sadly. So this is Shetland and BFL, and some Merino, and some yak. So that's what's in there. And it's a lovely, lovely, soft, mossy green. And it's got the, you know, the yak kind of, you can see the yak in there, the brownish streaks. Absolutely beautiful, and it is really, really soft. So that's what's in that. And then also some silk, brightly coloured sari silk. 4 different colours, gold. Now, Sarah has a blending board, so she'll be able to blend those into mini bats or into Rolex to spin with anything else she's got. So yeah, absolutely lovely. I've decided that one was for Sarah, because much as I love it, I love the other one more. So that's that one. I need to change the bags actually. I'll give Sarah the unbroken bag. Gosh, I'm making a mess. So the other one, which is mine to keep, is this one. So as amazing as that one was, this one is even more amazing. This one is focusing on Easter and sort of egg traditions around the world. And again, she gives a whole load of information about it, which is really interesting. So we've got this red blend. Oh, my Alexa's telling me something. Sorry about all the rustling and the farting around. Oh, it's all tied together, that's why I've forgotten about that. So there's the red blend. Now the red blend is Corriedale, Blue-Faced Leicester, Merino and Bamboo. Absolutely beautiful. The green, purple, and it's interesting that green and purple are again Sarah's colours, but I wouldn't let her have this one because I don't mean it. That one is Corriedale, Merino and Silk. I love Corriedale, my favourite thing to spin. And then you've got mohair locks. Look at these. Look at them. Oh man, they're so cute. And they're dyed as well, as you can see, quite a few different colours, but definitely my palette of colours, blues and whatever's purples. And then there's silk hankies. Now I had no idea what these were. My friend Andrea mentioned them to me, and I was thinking it was something you blow your nose on, right? But no. This is made by a silkworm. Apologies if everybody already knew that. They're individual silkworm cocoons. Absolutely amazing. So that again I can use for blending. I can use it for, yeah, making bats and making, oh, I don't know, I can do so much fun with that. It's so fine, just the dryness of my hands is catching on it. So that's my one, and I just love it. And that's exactly what I was looking for when I wanted to join a fibre club. That's exactly what I wanted, a range of different fibres, different colours, different things to use to make art yarn, basically. I want those locks to be nice and fluffy and crimpy, and to make a lovely yarn that when I get that bit at the front of the weave, I just make sure it stays at the front and it's beautiful. When I've got a piece that I like there, I just make sure it comes to the front, and sometimes I just pull it through to the front, and sometimes I have to actually do a sort of a float, so I come in front of some of the warp threads that it should really be behind, to make it shine. But yeah, absolutely beside myself about that. Well done, Rachel. It's an amazing thing you've done there. And yeah, I've already asked her that as soon as she starts doing a club again, I want to be on the list. Okay, we did another swap package. I was a bit miserable about my wheel. So we opened another swap package. So this is Sarah and I. We put together stuff for each other all the time. As you can see, that's going to go in the bag now for her. And then we post stuff every now and then because we used to get together. But of course, lockdown, you can't. So I opened one from her, and it was a die I've never used before, although I have bought some for Sarah from this person. It is Cuddle Buns. And so we've got this beautiful turquoise, and then look at these rainbow splashes. Where's the purple? One of my favourites. That pink, that's cerise, bright pink. The purple is really, really saturated. I can't imagine what that's going to come out like. That I can't wait to find out. So it is the 80% BFL, 20% trilobal sparkle nylon. Never even heard of that. Trilobal obviously means 3 lobes, don't know. But anyway, BFL and nylon, so perfect sock yarn. It's quite plump. It's 390 meters for 100 grams, and it's soft as anything. Absolutely beautiful. It's called Aqua Pixie. Don't know. Yeah, absolutely lovely. Definitely be looking at all of their yarns. So that is something new as well. Anything else new? Oh yes, everybody's got these rainbows in their window for NHS. I'm sorry I keep fiddling with my hair. I just keep catching sight of it, and it's such a mess. It really is well overdue for a cut. And I thought I want one, but I don't really have. I've got some purple yarn, I've got some blue yarn, but I haven't really got anything that would cohesively pull together. So I contacted Yarn Etc., our local yarn shop, and they put together a little bag for me, which I just pulled up outside and grabbed. So it's got, I think you can almost see all of that. There's 7 different colours in there. Anyway, it's Sirdar Happy Cotton in DK. So there's 7 colours in there, and I can just crochet a little rainbow. And then I was thinking, because what I use for the bottom of the rainbow, which should be the purple, shouldn't it? Won't use very much of it. I thought if I do another rainbow the other way round, then that'll use up corresponding amounts, won't it? And I don't know if you would notice the difference, but I can hang up 2 then. Anyway, yeah, I had to have one of them. And then finally, because I made that first squid and the girls wanted more squids, I didn't have enough of the safety eyes, so I had to go and buy one of these. Go stay home and buy one of these. Yeah, and that's what the whale and the second squid's eyes are from. And it's also got noses, believe it or not. Is that them? That's the backs. It's got little noses. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see those. So cute. So that's all good. I can make many, many more squid. What's the plural of squid? Is it squids or squid? I suspect it's squid. Right, okay. Finally, this is what's happening personally. I started last week, told you about my HIIT goal, and I did actually do pretty well with that. A lot of days I've just come down and done one sort of 30 or 45 second interval. And then I had Sunday, I had a bad headache again. I didn't do anything then, but every other day I've done something at least. And I've sometimes done some stuff with Annie. So yeah, it's good. The concept of it is that it's a mini goal. So every single day I aim to do at least 30 seconds of raising my heart rate substantially by, jogging on the spot as fast as I can or something like that. And some days I'll do sort of 3 episodes of that, and some days I'll do up to 8, but I'll do something every day to establish the habit, and it is working. I am pleased with it. In addition to the walk we do every day. And so I've got lots of little mini targets. So I've got 7,000 steps a day. That was started at 6 and was going to work its way up to 10, but lockdown has made that pretty impossible. So 7,000, I achieve that most days. And then 250 steps an hour between 8 in the morning and 5 at night. So 250 steps a day, an hour. So my little thing tells me, oh yeah, you need to get up and I wander around the house or around the garden or whatever for a bit. So I'm keeping up pretty much with those goals, and the HIIT is in addition to that. I'm also managing to drink the gallon of water a day. This is my 3rd week. I have missed a day, but not by much. If I sleep in, yesterday I woke up with my 3rd day of headache, and I took some meds and I went back to sleep. I didn't set the alarm, and I slept for it's about 3 hours, which is bonkers. So of course, once I got up, everything was off kilter. I'm a very routine girl, you know, I'm autistic, I'm routines. And I came down and started my routine, but I was 3 hours late. So by the time I'd finished tidying the kitchen and doing the bricking, recycling of soft plastics I do, it was nearly lunchtime and I hadn't had anything to drink. So I was really struggled. I did manage it last night, but I really struggled to manage it yesterday. But I'm getting there, and I am feeling good. I can't, because I do lots of things, I change lots of things all the time. I'm not sure if I can pinpoint that the gallon itself is making a difference, but it is good. Yeah, it's fine. And Sarah and we have taken our own advice about helping small companies and spending money with them to keep them going. We've done a lot of that, probably a bit too much. Bought probably a bit too much yarn and fibre recently, so we've decided to just try and keep a track of it all. So we've started a spreadsheet. Well, I'm the spreadsheet queen, so I've started the spreadsheet, and everything that we finish, that's coming out of our stash, is weighed, and that goes in, and any new yarn and fibre that arrives in the house is weighed in and comes in as well. Anything that we ordered before we started this decision to do this isn't covered. And I think I don't know, this yarn, Cuddle Bums yarn that I just got from Sarah, I don't think that's counted because I didn't buy it. I'll have to check on that. So obviously this week my this is counted as coming in because I bought it, and my squid and my whale are going out, and my socks. But the big one, and it's going to make it a bit unfair on Sarah, it's not really a competition with each other, it's more of a competition with ourselves to see if we can keep on top of things. But my my weave weighed 350 grams or something, and I did that from Friday to Monday. So, you know, if I did one of those every week, that's going to make it pretty easy to stay in the black, as it were. But that's good as well, because I do have a tremendous stash. So if I am working through it at 350 grams a week, then that's fab. So yeah, so that's going on there. I don't think it's going to stop us buying anything. Well, I suppose a little bit, but at least it will make us more aware. Maybe that's the plan. Don't know. Okay, so that's everything. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, do press the thumbs up and make a comment. Get involved in the cow if you want to. And yeah, I think that's it. That's a much quicker one today. I haven't rambled too much. I'm sure that's a good thing. Okay, so happy crafting. Thank you for watching, and I will see you, well, you'll see me next week. Bye.